we the only ones? I'm Kathy, and today I want to talk about the Patrick Clancy, Lindsay Clancy trial and postpartum depression getting its due attention after so long. But also, there's so many strange, I don't know, like for somebody that lost three kids and a spouse, to something so tragic, he moved on really fast. And um, basically, what has happened was there were three children, and they were found deceased, and their mother was blamed for their murders. She was found with her throat slit and then with a belt tied around her neck as a noose. And then she had also gone headfirst over a balcony and then landed on the ground and was in cold temperature. So her body core temperature was 80 degrees, and she was paralyzed as a result from the fall. She was told that she had done the killings of her children, and her husband basically told the detectives that came on the scene that that was what happened, and everybody just took his word for it. And so as of right now, he's not a suspect. But I was reading a lot of different comments about whether people thought that he did it, and there was mostly these people that I was looking at these comments were people that were in the field of like investigations for domestic violence, or they were so like police, former police, retired detectives, morticians, nurses, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. So then, I started to get more interested in this case because I didn't understand when you see his testimony, Patrick Clancy, he just seems very detached. And it looks like that's kind of how he was in the entire marriage. So she would be struggling taking care of three kids, and she was also a nurse. So she spent her entire life and vocation caring for others and was also caring for her three kids at home. And it sounded like she wasn't getting any support from her husband, and so they're the kid's father. So even to the point that his mom was aware and was offering to help, and he declined. And there was a situation in which they also had a nanny, and the nanny was sent home by him, even though Lindsay Clancy had expressed that she was struggling and she needed help. And I think there's something also about pills being ground up, and that was kind of also weird for people that there's like a mortician or a medical examiner, and he was saying that most of the time you're not going to, like, if you're going to commit suicide, you're not going to grind. You don't need to grind up the pills. You would just take them, and it's like a vanity thing. You don't, for women, you don't usually like slice your throat. You would slice your wrist because you don't want your face to be messed up. And also, you don't like hang yourself with a belt. And then go head first. So there was all these things like that didn't make sense to people that have seen these types of situations. And it was just a consistent feeling that he may have somehow like implanted the idea that she did it, but he was really the one that did it. And that's a case that actually happened in the past. So there's a case where a woman confessed to murdering her kids, and then later it was found out, like I think 3 years later, it was found out that the husband actually had done it. But she had confessed to it even though she hadn't done it. So we have precedents where things happen where men can manipulate a situation and get away with murder. So, and society tends to hold women more accountable than men and for longer amounts of time. So even if in the same crime you have like a man who, let's say he commits a murder and it's the car belongs to his girlfriend, she becomes an accessory, and then sometimes more often than not she ends up like getting 15 years, and then the man who actually commits the crime gets like 10 or something like that. So in our criminal justice system and in our society, for some reason, I like to call it the Adam and Eve bias. Um, Women are blamed and held accountable for things that are not actually their fault, and they're held responsible for their men's crimes and misgivings. So it's very frustrating when you see that, and I'm feeling that that's what this is going on in this case, where it's like, oh, postpartum depression, and it should highlight that, like, if she was struggling, he should have helped her. He had gone skiing. I think he had taken her into like some kind of hospital to help her. It was some kind of facility to help her with her postpartum depression, and then he went skiing like that same day. So like he was very uncaring. I was also thinking, like, who took care of the kids while he was skiing? So so it's like, so you could go skiing and the kids can be taken care of by somebody. When she was there, you couldn't let somebody take care of the kids while she could go do something. That's like so telling about how much he was not present, how much he probably contributed to her mental anguish, and that he also understood that society would not hold him accountable. He sold the house to the DA, which is kind of weird, or the prosecuting attorney, the DA, for $600,000, which is well under market value. And some are considering that maybe it was a bribe. It's a very interesting situation because it's so blatantly corrupt. And I don't know if like you could do that in another presidency as much as you can do that right now. So I'm very saddened because I don't understand how this poor woman ended up in this horrible marriage where this man did not care about her at all, and like drove it. He just like wanted to exacerbate everything and make it worse, and then blame everything on her, and then take and just the sociopathic way of just like keeping your hand, like being able to control people, and then not take responsibility, but do like really like full on cause death, and then kind of like feel powerful something out of it. That's what I think Patrick Clancy had in this entire scenario. And so I pray for those 3 babies in heaven. I hope that, okay, so there's this quantum, this leads me to this belief. I really hope that they are in this quantum theory that I just saw a reel about on PBS Nova. And it's something that I actually sort of like thought intellectually, like, could this be something? Because honestly, I was inspired because of the multiverse, like Avengers, kind of like Marvel multiverse concept. And I had considered like maybe that, when you die, maybe you don't know you die. Maybe you end up in a different consciousness of something. And because I have weird dreams sometimes where I like have gone to the same place and I know it really well and I know where I'm going. And even now I know I can map it out, but I've never been there in real life. So I'm like, is there like another place where I've been a different life, right? So in this quantum physics theory about the afterlife, it's the concept that like for instance, if you've had like a lot of close calls and you're like, wow, I should have died in that moment. There's another universe where that version of you in that moment did die. And then that consciousness jumped into another version of you in a different timeline, multiverse that's thriving. So that you never actually, your consciousness never really dies. You just go to a different consciousness timeline that you're in which you're surviving and thriving. So, I guess that's kind of like a form of enlightenment and a form of reincarnation, right? I like the idea that you reincarnate as yourself in different versions where you can get it right. Like I think that's actually feasible. And it's a quantum physics theory that was on PBS Nova, so it wasn't like some kind of, you know, um unscientific based media. But it's really interesting because I mean it's not fact, right? This is a theory, but it's a theory that I feel like is not like a woohoo kind of thing. It's like it was based in some kind of like scientific understanding. People that have a science background talking about it, as opposed to like just like only a spiritual, or just like only a gut instinct. Like I had a gut instinct, but it was nice to see it backed up by people that have a scientific background that could say like, yeah, there's a feasible theory. And that gives me peace because when I think about my mom passing, like, the idea that she jumped into another version of herself where she's thriving, oh my God, that makes me so happy. And same with my kids that were born basically to just go to heaven. Right. So I have two on earth with me, and I have two that were in utero with me, but then went on. And so the idea that they made it in a different version of themselves and they are thriving and growing up and like makes me extremely feel peaceful. Um I feel like there's a sense of closure that I didn't feel before thinking about it like that. So, I mean, I was just gone for 2 nights. I was staying at the Grand Californian at the Disneyland Resort using my Disney vacation timeshare points, thank goodness, because it was saving me a lot of money. And it was the first time in a long time that we stayed 2 nights there. So it felt like we're at home. And when we go there, they say welcome home because that's part of the vibe when you're part of the Disney Vacation Club, is it's like your second home. So our kids have grown up in this environment their entire life. Like literally took the babies when they were 3 months old, and we would go to Disneyland, and it was very safe for me there. So, and Disney World. So, and Disney Cruise Line. So when we bought Disney Vacation Club, it made sense because I planned to go for a long time. So this is like going into that bubble and then coming out and seeing all this news was a little bit jarring. But, there's ebb and flow in the world. Like I was on this big high of like the joy of pickleball and all these things like that. And I still have that. But there's been a couple of speed bumps where I've had some interesting moments that are not super serious, but they just remind you about how like people are sometimes unnecessary saboteurs and haters for no reason. And you just have to like, even when you're in like a bubble of happiness, you have to deal with like sometimes like weird people that, I don't know, just weird. So can let you down. It's like there's like sometimes you feel like you get love bombed even with the friendship, and then whatever. So, but it's a lesson. Like it's like some people are there for a reason, some people are there for a season, and some people are there for the moment. So I think, um, with every, I think I'm also in a very like weird place because we just got news that Dolly Parton passed away, and Tim Curry just passed away today. The news just broke today. So these are two great artists that really helped form pop culture, not just in the United States, but in the world. And it's sad that we lost them. And, when you see some of these stories about Dolly Parton, that she basically, there was a fire in her um, state of Tennessee or Kentucky. And I think it was Kentucky actually. And she gave $1,000 a month to the fire victims until they got back on their feet from a fund that she had raised called the My People Fund. And there's all these things that you hear about people after they pass, and you realize they don't want you to know about it because they don't want they don't want to feel like they're bragging or being disingenuous. But like you would like to know that they're doing it so that you could help support, or you could, I don't know, like be inspired to do things yourself. Like sometimes it inspires you to do things. But it was really sad for me to learn this after the fact because I didn't realize that I knew she had done a reading program and she was sending books, and she always supported children's libraries, but I didn't know that she also helped with fire victims. And I know people that lost their homes in the fires in SoCal. One is a home that was in Palisades, and the other home was in Altadena. And so, and I live in a high fire area, and so it's very touching to know that she could have been a billionaire but decided to be a philanthropist in the truest sense. And it's like I'm just sad that like it's almost like the chapter of true philanthropy is starting to close out. I talk about the extinction outburst of toxic masculinity, but there's also I noticed sort of the way philanthropy used to be by wealthy people, that it was really caring and not just about the tax deduction but about like actually trying to help people. And she did it at a local level, which I thought was really cool because you could actually understand that like Dollywood is actually on the other side of a mountain. That is where her family grew up, her with like 11 kids and no electricity or running water, no plumbing. And that's why she always had a good attitude, because even though she knew they're suffering, she always understood how to appreciate things. And there's even a quote from Julia Roberts talking about when she was working with Dolly Parton on Steel Magnolias, and she was saying how like it was really hot, and she was like complaining. Julia Roberts was complaining, and she looked over and she was like noticing that Dolly Parton was not complaining, and she asked Dolly about it, and Dolly was like, "I mean, I grew up poor. Like, what I've complained about? We're on the set. It's beautiful. We get all these privileges. Like, what I have to complain at?" And that basically set the tone for Julia Roberts moving forward on movie sets, and I thought that was really cool. So, you know, Julia Roberts was something that Richard Tyler, when I worked at Richard Tyler, it was a good relationship. So we tried to dress her for her wedding with her and Kiefer Sutherland, and then prequel of Runaway Bride movie, she left him at the altar. So yeah, she would have worn the wedding dress from Richard Tyler in that one, but that was also like a crazy um situation. I remember when that was happening, I was like, oh my god, when that was going down. And then when they came back and we get stuff, although Donald Sutherland was one of the nicest celebrities I had ever worked with. Oh my gosh, the story I have about that was so funny. Okay, so it's the end of, like, I think it was a Saturday, and I'm like closing up the showroom, which is on Beverly, which is now known as the Milk. It's like a cafe bakery, and it's kind of near the El Coyote Mexican restaurant, like literally like walking distance. And um, I'm like closing up, and I had like misjudged the time, so I was like closing up an hour early on accident. And I get a phone call, and it's Donald. Well, I don't know it's Donald Sutherland. I get a phone call to the showroom. I answer, and there's a voice that says, like, "I'm standing outside your showroom, and it says it's closed, but that says the time you should be open, but I'm standing outside. It looks like you're closed." And I go, "Oh," and I look at the clock, and I go, "Oh my gosh, I misread the clock. I'm so sorry. I'm still here. We are open. Let me open the doors." So I open the door, not knowing who it is, and lo and behold, who is it? Donald Sutherland. And at this point, I don't know how we got food, but somebody made a McDonald's run. So we're eating McDonald's because we thought the showroom was done for the day. We're like doing inventory and kind of like cleaning up and prepping for the next day. And so we're eating McDonald's. So you know how McDonald's like fills up French fries, fills up the room with the smell of French fries. So of course they walk in, they go, "Oh, it smells nice in here." Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. We had McDonald's to have a little snack before we finish closing up and everything while we're working into the next part of the workday. Um, and I'm so sorry that I misread the time. And so, yeah, how can I help you? And so I basically had the most lovely time helping him and his. I don't know if she was his wife or his life partner, but she was French. And I was, because I was born in Paris, I said, "Oh, je suis né du Paris," or is it à Paris? And she corrected me. She said, "Je suis né à Paris." So now I know. But I was born in Paris. And I was trying to get her a dress for something that they were going to wear. And he was so nice because he really wanted to pay for it. And at that level, when you're doing couture, you just loan it out to celebrities that are at that level, because you want them to come back and wear you for like a red carpet or something like that, because that helps drive sales. So yeah, he was like, he was so funny because he goes, Kathy, isn't it strange how you worked so hard and you don't have money to buy anything, and then when you finally make money and you can afford these things, people try to give it to you for free. And I go, I know, but I don't make the rules. Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? So, and then we had a laugh, and then he was lovely. I said goodbye to them, I wish them well. And so I remember when he passed, I was really, really. I did a little story on my Instagram about him because he was such a nice guy. He was one of the nicest celebrities I've ever met and worked with, like on a very sincere level, like just a nice and unassuming, like not, he could have announced who he was on the phone, but he didn't. Um, he was just really, really cool and really, really like sincere and nice. And his relationship with his partner was so sincere and loving, and I could tell she really loved him. And so, and that they loved each other, and it was really nice to see that, especially in Hollywood. It's like hard to see that. So, I mean, it feels like such a long time ago. I mean, I was actually reminiscing about how I want to watch The West Wing because I haven't really seen that series. And at the time when I was working during the same time in like, I think it was like 2003, I was working on a dress with Stockard Channing, and she was playing the first lady on The West Wing. And I had watched Stockard Channing on Grease. I used to watch Grease every single day on a VHS every when I would come home from school from fifth grade. I would like know all the songs and everything. So Stockard Channing to me is always going to be Rizzo. So it was really cool to then see her as the first lady and then see her in the Richard Tyler showroom, and we're doing fittings and stuff like that. And she was really, really nice as well. And so, Martin Sheen as the president, I mean, maybe I need to go back and sort of remember what it was like to have like a normal good presidency, and when like, even though it's romanticized right now, at least something to like hold on to and hope for and maybe manifest for the future is like a good American president again. So yeah, tell me what you think. Did anybody out there remember West Wing? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Give me any feedback. I mean, are we the only ones right now that are sort of reminiscing about a better day when, you know, you could look at the West Wing and be proud of it? I mean, I think yes. And, you know, rest in peace, Dolly Parton. Rest in peace, Tim Curry. I know these things come in threes, so you know, brace yourselves. All right. Give me a like, follow, or subscribe. Send me some feedback on what you're thinking about the Patrick Clancy, Lindsay Clancy trial, postpartum depression. Did you have it? Did you know that you had it when you had it? I think I looked back in my 5 years post and I was like, I think I probably did have it. But you just, at the time, you just kind of like, if you're not going to hurt anybody or yourself or the baby, you're good. But I think it's deeper than that. So, um, yeah, tell me if you think I agree, or I think you agree on postpartum depression and that it's deeper than just whether you're gonna hurt. That it's also just feeling lonely and feeling different than you were and coming to terms with that. Yeah, tell me what you think about that. And then any celebrity stories that you want to share. If you want me to share more, I have so many. I have so many weird celebrity stories. So yeah. And now I'm off to pickleball. Okay. Until next time. Bye.